There was a planter who planted these seeds of a kind in the grasslands, jungles, and the mountains so benign. Every seed that she planted was labeled as divine because the fruits of her labor to stand the test of time. Join us Sunday, March 29th at the Arboretum for the art gallery where the seed remembers.
Have nothing if we don't have the land. You know, that our liberation of the land is the liberation of us all. The land has always been there to hold me, like in my darkest moments, in my saddest moments, in some of my most joyful and most peaceful moments, really showing me what serenity means.
Both of my parents and myself were born in Nigeria, and I inherited a lot of trauma, truly, but the way that it contributes to my work is I felt the need to be the last person in my lineage to pass on that trauma and suffering. I really hope and I pray that this work allows people to come back to themselves, because sometimes you don't realize that something is within you until you see it.
I'm hoping that we can all just remember who we are and remember how much power is in everything that we do and how much life we give to everything.
Pressure cooker of emotions, a lot of different ethnic groups, a lot of different nationalities, a lot of different conflicts on a lot of different levels. And so I hope that people will get the spirit of rebirth from this. You know, we're at the Arboretum, so, you know, we have flowers. It's the season of, you know, of spring. And so the welcome in a new season, to kind of peel the shell of this negative season that we've had so far in the Twin Cities off and look, you know, grow into a brighter future, I suppose.
What I've inherited from the land, from my lineage, from my people, is the ability to fight. I've inherited this melanin. I've inherited these beautiful features. I've inherited the ability to be an artisan and to practice creation through being an artist.
lived experience. I paint emotional solitude. I paint from your emotions. I want you to feel something that either you've already felt or something that you like to feel. I just want people to realize that there's still happiness to be seen. There's still growth. No matter how dark or negative things may get, positivity will still shine. I always have a saying, everything gets better in the end, and if it hasn't gotten better yet, it's not the end.
I feel like art is a very powerful tool and vehicle for us to be able to establish connections, to recall and remember the connections that we have and that we come from. I hope that this work brings about restoration, comfort, harmony, the ability for many voices to come together.
People who encounter my work feel a sense of connection to ancestry and ritual. My pieces feature a subject who is a spiritual healer. And so I really hope that the people who encounter my work are able to feel the healing powers of her practice through the artwork.
What I inherited from my lineage and the land that I grew up in is a deep respect for nature and the environment that sustains us, and how everyone has to find their connection to the land they're on to discover what it is that you're called to do your part to keep this world as healthy as possible.
In this time of disconnection, I really hope that this body of work can give to people who encounter it a level of introspection to look at themselves and their relationship to the land.
Art heavily revolves around reminding myself primarily that everything is our relatives, not just our blood relatives. Living in big cities or in huge urban areas, it makes you forget the importance of your connection with the plants and the birds or animals or the water, the elements.
I hope that the art lets people know that we are connected in so many different ways, and understanding that while we may feel disconnected in this place, there are so many other places and other ways and other things that we can be connected to.
If you look at When the Seed Remembers, you will see that it is a message to be reminded of our ancestry, that we are tied to the earth and to the stars, and that nothing ever truly dies.
If you look at the composition of my piece, Blooming and Becoming in Bliss, you would see that although we are all in our own internal worlds, we are all still a part of a larger world.
If you look at the bold lines and Afrocentric features in the three pieces that I have in this show, they kind of represent wisdom, love, and understanding.
If you look at the characters in my piece, It Takes a Village, you can see that the interconnectedness of all of us is really what creates life and helps us to create life within each other and just bring life to life.
When you look at my piece, Serious and Soil, you're gonna see the power and the strength of African women. You're gonna see the nurturing of the next generation, and you're gonna see the ability to continue to rise above all things that have caused destruction across generations for African women.
If you look at the titles and the composition of this body of work, you'll see the story unfolding, looking at themes of identity and becoming.
When you look at Nourished and Flourished, you're gonna see this color, this energy that calls forth this kind of like lush and abundant growth. That recalls like, what does it look like if you properly give nourishment to a seed, if we hold it and really truly care for it.
If you look at the texture element in my piece titled Duality of Man, you will still be able to find that even in those sharp moments, you'll be able to smooth things out so you can find that peace of mind.
If you look at my piece titled Palliative Care, you'll see the composition of the subjects reflects the cyclical nature of a seed, showing that the seed is both the beginning and the end of a cycle, and that we can experience that all around us.
If you look at the characters in my piece, Ancestral Offerings, you will see a portal opening that connects us with everything that surrounds us.